Welcome to an Ultralight Airplane design video from the Ultralight Airplane Workshop. Now we're going to do a little series of videos, I think it's going to be 3 videos, where I'm going to build a mock-up for the steel tubing frame that I want to use for the UWS-4 Ultralight Airplane. Now if you're new to the channel, let me give you a brief overview of what we're talking about. We're building an ultralight airplane, and that's an airplane as defined by the United States Federal Aviation Administration Part 103. And to help guide us in this design, we're using a book by Dan Raymer, Simplified Aircraft Design for Homebuilders. There's going to be a few things a little bit different in this video compared to our previous UWS-4 Ultralight Airplane videos. Number one is you're going to see me on camera. I haven't done that in a long time. Last time I was on camera was when we were doing some UWS-1 Ultralight Airplane videos. And by the way, as I was editing the video, I did notice that there's a syncing problem between the audio and video. I'll get that fixed hopefully before the next video. And the resolution was a little bit low. I'll try to get that fixed too. Another thing is we're finally going to actually build something. Now, it's not going to be something we're going to use in the end. It's just a mock-up. But at least we're getting out in the shot and we're actually building something instead of just looking at PowerPoint slides and OpenVSP and looking at airfoils in XFLR5. Let's continue with this overview. Now here on the screen, you can see that UWS-4 as I've drawn it in OpenVSP. And if you might have some interest in OpenVSP, it's a piece of software that you can use to rapidly configure an airplane, placing the fuselage and the wings and tail and wheels wherever you want to fairly quick, usually faster than you can do it in a CAD program. And if you might be interested in that, there's a link down in the description that will take you to OpenVSP. It's free, easy to download, it runs on many different operating systems. But looking at this design, as you can see, it's got a short fuselage. It's a pusher configuration. Hopefully you can see the cursor here. I'm whipping it around the propeller here. It's a tail dragger, so the main wheel is in front of the center of gravity, which would be right around in here. It's an inverted V-tail, and that tail is held by twin booms. Now what prompted this little mini-series that I'm going to do now is that the next section in Dan's book that we're going to cover goes back and does a more detailed analysis of the aerodynamics. And before I did that, I wanted to be comfortable with several aspects of the airplane that we've decided on in previous videos, specifically when we were talking about structures. And if you might be interested in seeing that structure video, if you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link to it up here in the upper right hand corner, and you can click on that and it'll take you to the structure video we talked about. But specifically, what I'm interested in looking at on the structure is a steel tubing frame that I designed. Let's take a quick look at that. So you can kind of see it here. You can see where the pilot is. This green here is the seat. The wing is still in here. I'll get rid of it in a minute. Here is the little 35 horsepower engine we're going to use. Back in here is the engine mount. Let's take a look at it from the left side and let's get rid of the wing and the booms and some other stuff so we can just see this fuselage a little bit easier. So here it's a little bit easier to see. So back here again, here's the engine. This part here aft from this spot, which is where we'll have a firewall aft, that's the engine mount. Again, this green is the seat. Here's the lap belt. Here's the shoulder belt. Here's the instrument panel. Here is the control stick. And then the rest of this is the tubing for the frame of the fuselage. And this tubing frame plus the instrument panel and the seat and the seat belt are the things that I want to mock up. I want to see if I like what we have here. Now, if you remember, from where the eyes are on this little human figure over the instrument panel, we had looked at an article that kind of recommended what that sightline angle should be relative to horizontal. So I want to build the instrument panel and see if I agree that that sightline is good. I'm pretty sure it will be, but I want to take a look at it and see what it looks like. And that'll be part 3 of the video. So right now, we're on part 1. We're going to do the introduction. I'm going to kind of give you a verbal overview and look at some OpenVSP, and we're going to look at some FreeCAD here in a moment and talk about what I'm going to build. Part 2 will be building it, and then part 3 will be doing analysis to see if I like it, see if there should be some changes made. So for example, I want to make sure this seat belt is going to work, this arrangement, where to attach it. In fact, I have a seat belt here that I bought. Here's the shoulder straps. This seat belt is far heavier than I thought it was going to be. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but I'm going to go ahead and use it in this mock-up. And in addition, I got a helmet that I'll use when I do the test. What I want to do is do a rollover test where I'm going to be seat belted into this mock-up. I'm I'm going to have my helmet on. I'm going to roll it over upside down because that's probably the most likely kind of mishap we're going to have. For example, we have an engine failure, we have to land in a soybean field. It's highly likely that the airplane's going to flip over on its back. I want to make sure of a number of things. Number one, I want to make sure I like the seatbelt arrangement, the attach points. I want to make sure it holds me in the seat as I'm upside down. I want to make sure it's easy to release. So there's a specific kind of 5-point attachment where all the belts come together. I kind of like it. I want to see if I really do. I got the helmet so that if for some reason there's something that goes wrong and the seatbelt or something in the mock-up breaks, I don't crack my head open. I might break my neck, but I won't crack my head open. The most important thing, I think, is being able to crawl out from this when it's upside down. I want to be able to release the seatbelt, drop down to the ground, and then slither out from underneath it. If I can't contort myself around to get out from underneath it, that's a problem because I'll be trapped in the airplane until someone actually figures out that I'm missing and comes and finds me. So that's not good. I want to be able to get out of the airplane if it does flip over upside down. I want to make sure that control stick is in a position that I like. I want to make sure it's the correct distance front and back, and I want to make sure there's enough distance left and right as I move it that I'm not going to be banging my knees. I want to make sure there's enough distance for my feet. I want to make sure where I put this front out here that there's enough distance that I can angle my feet as though I'm pushing on the rudder pedal and I won't be banging into the frame. Another thing I want to check is the angle of the seat, particularly when we're in the cruise attitude. I want to check the seat pan angle and the seat back angle. So I'm going to set this frame in the correct angle for when we're at cruise and see if that feels good. So that's the reason I want to make this mock-up. Before I get into doing the more detailed aerodynamic analysis, I want to make sure there aren't some changes I want to make to this frame first. So what's a process I'm going to do to build this mock-up? Now, I've already, as we're filming this, come pretty close to finishing the mock-up. Not quite, and I got a few gussets I need to finish putting on there. Let's talk about the materials. I want to do this pretty easy and pretty cheap. I didn't actually want to use steel tubing and weld it up, although that would probably be more true to the end product. That would take more time, be a little more costly because I don't have that much scrap tubing around that I could use. But I have lots of scrap lumber laying around. So what I decided to do is I'm going to cut up strips of wood into roughly the shape of the tubing. So I decided on 1/2" by 1/2" strips of wood. I'll use gussets at the corner, similar to what you would do when you're building a wooden airplane. And I should probably mention something, a little caveat here. The way I'm going to build this mock-up is not how you would build an actual wooden airplane. I'm taking lots of shortcuts. I'm doing things quick. I'm doing things fast. I'm using pretty cheap materials. So I would not recommend anything you see me do in the build as an indication of how you should build a wooden airplane. It's not. I'm building this just strong enough so it'll hold me when I do these little experiments, and that's it. I might throw it away. I might throw it on the burn pile when I get done. I really don't have any reason to keep it unless I want to make some changes. If I want to make some changes, I'll keep it around. And that's another reason for doing wood. It's much easier to cut and splice, make it longer, make it shorter, move things around than it would be with the metal. Now, I'm a little bit sorry that I chose 1/2" by 1/2" strips. Some of the longer longerons are a little bit flimsy at 1/2" by 1/2". I really wish I had done 3/4 by 3/4, but I think it'll work for what we're doing here. And by the way, in part 2, where I show building this frame mock-up, I'm not going for precision. If I get within about 1/8 of an inch of where I want all these mock tubes, that'll be good enough for what I'm doing here. In fact, it's probably more than good enough. Now, if I was building a real wooden airplane, I'd be much, much more precise, much more careful. I'd use better aircraft grade materials, and it would take a whole lot longer. And to kind of give you an idea of what I was talking about, here is a sample of some of the 1/2" by 1/2" wood that I used. For short runs, this is plenty good, but for some of the longer ones, I think the longest one's around 40 inches. This is a little bit too flimsy. So in those, at least in the longer runs, I wish I'd done 3/4 by 3/4. And as an example of what I'd use for gussets, here is some 1/8" plywood that I got off of an old entertainment center that I tore apart. And I use this for gussets. It's just cheap 3-ply mahogany. but it worked good enough for this purpose. And then I have fixtures to hold the frame at various heights. For example, if you look here on this screen again, this little spot here is about 3 inches higher than this spot back here. This is an additional 9 or 10 inches higher back here. So I made fixtures similar to this, little rigs, to hold up the various parts of the airframe at the right height when I was putting it together. And again, these are made out of scrap wood. In fact, this is, again, plywood for that entertainment center that I tore apart. By the way, I think almost all the wood that I cut up in 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch was from an old bed that a neighbor threw away, and I had salvaged it because it had lots of nice, straight, clear wood boards in it. To aid me in building the mock-up, I wanted to have some technical drawings that would have the dimensions on it, so I wouldn't have to keep remeasuring or keep going back to OpenVSP to try to figure out where placements of sticks would be. So I decided to use FreeCAD's technical drawing workbench in order to do that. So I converted all of the position data from OpenVSP over into OpenCAD. So after I entered all that information into FreeCAD, here's what we have. So this is all the tubing, 1/2 inch tubing. Now in FreeCAD, I made them all round instead of square like I made them in the mock-up. But the idea was try to start playing with what I wanted to do for instructions and for drawings for round tubing. Now in the real build, I'm going to have a mixture of tubing sizes. I might have somewhere clear up to 5/8 inch diameter down to 1/4 inch diameter. But here in this case, I don't know yet what all those diameters need to be. I haven't done structural analysis yet, so I made everything 1/2 inch. So now I need to start thinking about how I was going to build this. I got a flat table that I'm going to be building on, so I want to try to take advantage of that. So I started doing the drawings, converting various parts of what you see here into drawings. So for example, this is one of the drawings that I made where these are the bottom longerons, so I'd know how far apart the outside edge of the tubes is here at the front, how far apart they are at the back. And this means that they're symmetrical about a center line. And I also knew how long they were. So let's go back and look at our drawing. So that would be this tube here and this tube here. So I wanted to build this area down here flat on my table. So once I have these laid out on my table in this orientation, then I come back and I put the cross pieces in. So I know how far from the very front edge to the front edge of this crossed piece, and then glue those in. I use gussets to glue all these corners together. And then we put in the diagonal pieces. So this is still the same piece. Now here I didn't need to do any measurements. You just go from corner to center to corner, and same thing back here. And so that would then build this whole bottom section, this longeron section where the pilot sits. So the pilot would sit here, feet would be a little bit in front of here, control stick would be here. So that would complete that one little section. Then I'd go back and build another section. Now in this case, we were going back right back here. So building the aft part of the bottom. So let's look sideways at this. So that would be this area here. So that would be the next thing to build. Now on the airplane, there isn't going to be a tube from here to here. Now normally in a structure like this, you would expect a tube to be here. That's actually going to be where the spar of the wing passes through. So the spar will actually be there in substitution of a tube. So in this case, I know how far apart these front ends, the forward ends of these tubes are, how far apart they are here at the very back. So I put these together, put some gussets here, then I put the brace in here, and again, this is where the spar would pass through. So typically I wouldn't put anything here. But for this mock-up, I went ahead and put something there since I'm not going to have a spar in there. Now here we moved up to the top longerons of the airplane. So this is the cockpit opening. So the pilot's head would be here, feet would be going forward. Let's look at that in the drawing. So that would be here. This is the opening here, and this is the back part of that. So I'm building all this right in here as one piece. So we built all that in, and I left it out of the drawing, but there's also a brace diagonal in here. So once we built that part, now I'm going to do the rollover protection. So let's take a look at where that is. That is this part right up here, this vertical part. So I built that next. That's all built flat. And now we start putting things together. So I put the rollover protection, you can see it here. This is it right here, this vertical part on a previous flat part that I built, but I actually built it flat on the table. So the table is actually right here. And then I added in these braces back here. So that's this brace and this brace. So that was the first part that actually became 3D. Everything before this was built 2D, flat on the table. But now I had to start figuring out fixtures to hold things at the right angle and build them on the table. Now here's where I put this rollover part and the top longeron onto the bottom longerons. So I added these tubes. We're looking at it from the left side, by the way. These tubes all through here. And now I didn't show it. I put a bunch of diagonals back in here also. And now what you're looking at is I just added the nose piece, and that completed the build. Now the only thing that's missing then is the seat, instrument panel, and I'm not really showing it here, but I reinforced some of the gussets where I'm going to attach the seat belt. So as I'm talking to you right now, I've almost finished. I've gone up through this part. I've reinforced some of the gussets for the seat belt. I've added a little bit of thickness to this bottom longeron here vertically, but vertically it needed a little more support. I'm adding another 1/4 inch to the height of this mock tube, this wood stick, in order to make it a little bit stiffer. I think that'll be good enough for that. I'm getting ready to add the instrument panel. I'm almost done with that. And I'm just about ready to start doing some testing on it. Get into it and start some testing. So the next video, part 2, is going to be a time-lapse video of building this mock-up out of wood. I'll do a little short introduction, then we'll go through the time-lapse, and at the very end, I'll do a little bit of lessons learned, things I probably would do a little bit different. I've already talked a little bit about that already. And then in the third video, I'm going to be climbing into this thing, and we're going to be doing some analysis, see if anything needs to be changed. Well guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in part 2.